Please welcome Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins. And please rise and welcome the 57th Governor of the great state of New York, Kathy Hochul.
Good morning, everyone. What a fabulous day here in the great city of Yonkers. I will take note, the hometown of our great leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, who's done an extraordinary job. The first woman of color to lead a body of our legislature, and she's done a miraculous job with the challenges she faces. I want to especially acknowledge her as we're here today. Also acknowledge our Congressman, George Latimer, who knows this county better than anyone. So grateful to have his voice of reason in Washington, more critical now than ever. So I appreciate your partnership and how you're fighting so hard, not just for your district, but the entire state of New York. Ladies and gentlemen, George Latimer. Our Mayor, Mike Spano, who presides over all this great development and many wonderful things that have happened over the years that he's served, and I want to thank him for having the vision to bring projects, like Lionsgate, and how excited this is to have here. So let's give a round of applause to our Mayor, Mike Spano. Our senators are in the House. Senator Shelley Mayer has joined us. Shelley. Senator Natalia Fernandez has joined us. Assemblymember Mary Jane Shimsky as well. Let's give a round of applause to them. And from my administration, Hope Knight, who is behind all the great projects that we love to talk about from every corner of the state, our CEO and president of Empire State Development, Hope Knight. From my point of view, the Mid-Hudson area has been stealing the hearts of people for generations. It has breathtaking views, charming towns, an historic river that is just part of the narrative about New York, what makes us so great. This rich history also attracts the smartest people, the most engaged people. I mean, the home of FDR is in this region, and it's something that we treasure, we're proud of. But it's also, despite its great past, it also has an incredible present and future. I mean, we are right now a hotbed of growth and innovation. And right here at iPark Hudson, we're seeing it firsthand. And this is built by our friend Joe Cotter. And we miss him, we miss Joe, its campus, other campuses. We're here for many of the events, but what an imprint that man had on this community and beyond. So. But also just the idea of transforming long vacant sites and turning them into cutting-edge technology centers and engines for economic growth. So Joe's passing was a great loss for us, but his business partner Lynn is with us here. I want to thank her for all she has done to carry on. Let's give a round of applause to Liz. We honored Joe. And also just think about what's happening. Nowhere else in the country you're seeing this explosive growth. IBM investing $20 billion. Now that's a headline any day of the week in the Mid-Hudson region to deepen its quantum computing and semiconductor projects. And Regeneron in the middle of a $2 billion expansion up in Tarrytown. It's all happening in this one region. And I want to always say thank you to those companies who could be elsewhere. And they make this place their home, but not just their home, but they're expanding and attracting talent from around the country. And as a result of all these great things happening and people discovering the charm and the wonderful quality of life here, we've seen a great growth in population in this area. And that's a good dynamic. I like it. But in this area, the population has grown over 30,000 in just a few years. And a lot of it happened since the pandemic. People left the city. They discovered not too far away was this beautiful place they could make their home. But it also comes with growing pains, right? The infrastructure is feeling the pressure. And as we attract more industries, that means more workers. It also means we need more housing. You've heard me talk about this for 3.5 years now. And like I said back in my State of the State in January, my mission as governor is to assure that every New Yorker can live and work and thrive in the community they want to call home, but they have to have a home. And for too many, that just feels so far out of reach, whether it's that person starting out trying to find that affordable apartment, or a couple wants to downsize, find a place to live, a townhouse or apartment, a condo, or anyone who wants to move up the chain. I always knew that you could judge a person's success by where they're living. My parents used to live in a trailer park, then a little tiny 2-bedroom flat next to the steel plant where I was born, my 1-year-old brother. And then they got a little Cape Cod, and then they got a little bigger space, and I lived in the attic with 2 brothers, and not heat or air conditioning, but we got very close. At least we had an attic, right? It was progress. And over time, as my father became more successful building on a college degree he was able to acquire, their homes got bigger. And I still believe that that is part of the American dream that people have. You start out small, you struggle, and you end up in a place that you can live comfortably. But housing is now the #1 source of stress for our families and individuals. So what we have to do is show some momentum. And that's why 2 years ago I launched the Mid-Hudson Momentum Fund, $150 million dedicated to simply this region to help you meet that demand and build more housing and have the supportive infrastructure that is essential, and provide homes for people of all income levels, all. Make sure we do what is necessary. And last year we announced the first round of awards. Proud to say, because I'm always saying, how are they going? Are they moving along? 3 are already underway, and we're going to keep the momentum moving ahead. The Golden Hill mixed-use development in Kingston, 164 units of affordable housing, plus a daycare center, very important to me, is on track to be completed this fall. That's great progress. The foundations have been laid for the Barrel Factory Apartments, 100-unit mixed-use development also in Kingston. And we broke ground on the Opal 115, a development that'll create over 315 units in Mount Vernon. The Mid-Hudson Fund is also a key part of our $750 million, and thank you to the legislators and our leader for adding more money to this. This is our pro-housing communities fund, an essential component of our landmark housing legislation from last year. And if you've not heard about it, I'm going to tell you about it. Municipalities that earn the designation of being a pro-housing community, and it's not that hard to do. You pass a resolution in your city council or legislature and commit to growth targets, and we'll help you get there, we'll help you navigate. And to qualify, you apply, you're certified. We have over 300 communities that are doing it right now. It's funny, we started out with 20, and I made the observation that, boy, $650 million is a lot of money to spend in 20 communities. They're going to do just fine. Word get out. And now we have 300 and even more. But there's only 14 right here in Westchester. I think we can do better. Come on. It's not that hard. You want to be part of all the carrots that we put on the table. It's now $750 million. And if you're willing to say yes to housing and yes to a better future, the money's available. This is money for downtown revitalization and Main Street programs, Restore New York, infrastructure programs that we're now setting aside. So I understand the challenges that localities have. I understand sewers and potholes more than most, since I spent 14 years in local government. And for someone, when I was in local government, to say you could have $10 million for your sewer system or to build housing or to work on a downtown, I would have died and went to heaven. I mean, that never happened with Albany, my 14 years in local government. But having come to this position with that perspective of the power that we can have to help be a catalyst for development in our communities, I knew what Albany could do, and we could do more, and we are. So I know how transformative these grants can be. That's why we have more grants. And today I'm proud to announce 10 visionary projects that were selected to receive $60 million, the second round of a Mid-Hudson Momentum Fund, including leader $11 million worth of projects for 2 projects right here in Yonkers. All told, this is a number you're going to want to repeat over and over and over. It'll unlock 8,000 units of housing, with 2,000 of them being affordable. 8,000 new homes for people right here. in this region. And it'll leverage $627 million of public and private investment and help us shore up the critical infrastructure that our communities depend upon. So I will turn it over to Hope Knight to continue through the projects, but I do want to say this. This is an opportunity that we have to seize, whether it's providing the sewer grants to some of our great communities across the river, whether it's helping be a starting point for these houses. I want people to not be afraid of building houses. I want you to break down that fear, because there's one reason why people leave our state. I'll be honest, two reasons. Some go to Texas and Florida. I don't know, maybe they like their governors better. I have no idea why. But when you look at the top 5 destinations where New Yorkers who do leave our state go, 3 of them are our neighbors. Connecticut, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. They have the same weather, same taxes, nice governors, but it's not New York. They're going there because they had the ambition and the guts to build more housing. I see it all the time. We have held ourselves back, living in the past, holding tightly close to what we have and not opening it up to others, a fear of multifamily housing. Oh my gosh, what are you afraid of? Everybody deserves a good home, and we have the capacity, the space, the investments to make it happen. We just have to get people to change their mind about the value of this. So young couples starting out can raise their kids next to grandma and grandpa. Babysitters can be free if you do it right, right? That's why I moved home from Washington. My parents are free babysitters. I know what I'm talking about. So I just want to encourage everybody to not miss this moment. I will support it. I will continue putting money behind it. But I need people to be open-minded, break down the fear, break down the barriers, and do it as necessary. So the other area where we're being smart is building housing around transit hubs. This is so genius in its simplicity. I just came in from the city. It took 40 minutes, Metro North. Very nice, make a lot of friends. Not everybody likes to talk in the morning, but that's okay, I do. But we are so blessed to have this. Other parts of our state and the country are envious of how accessible a great city with tens of thousands of jobs at, where people from the city want to come up here and take the jobs here. We have this available. So why aren't we building housing right where those stations are? Have a little place to have your coffee in the morning. Upstairs you have the housing, a mixed. It's all affordable, but also market rate, all mixed together. You can't tell the difference. Throw a swimming pool on the top if you want. I've been to facilities like this. So I'm talking about building a whole new quality of life. But communities have to be open to this. So I want to make sure that we continue focusing on our infrastructure, I'm working on making the trips to the city even shorter, but also charting a path forward, allowing the transformation that is desperately wanting to occur. Let it happen. And I'll give you a sample of some of those 10 great projects. I'll have Hope Knight come up, and then we'll be willing to and happy to introduce our next speaker, the leader of the New York State Senate, Andre Stewart Cousins. But Hope Knight, come on up. We'll start right there.
So I have the privilege of taking you through the projects that have been awarded. And here in Yonkers, a $7.5 million grant will transform vacant industrial land into Bridgewater North. 208 new apartments and 1,270 square feet of retail space, all within walking distance of Metro North's Ludlow Station. And we're awarding $3.75 million to Abbey on Park Project, an innovative transit-oriented mixed-income housing development. In addition to providing 81 new affordable units, this project includes essential infrastructure improvements for the city. like drainage, road repairs, restoration of a city-owned garage. And for the rest of Westchester County, we've got some good news for you too. We're awarding $10 million to support critical infrastructure improvements to the former United Hospital site in Portchester. This will include a new sewer system, stormwater management, and new roads and sidewalks. This will support a mixed-use housing development on the site with nearly 1,000 new units. In Mount Vernon, we've allocated $5 million to redevelop abandoned buildings at the gateway to the city. The new two-building complex will feature 3,000 square feet of commercial space and a green roof. And in New Rochelle, it is receiving $5 million to build 455 Main, a 17-story, 100% affordable condo with 126 affordable units. This is alongside retail space that will be occupied by Open Door, a nationally recognized health center. And in Orange County, we have two incredibly exciting projects in the pipeline. First, in Newburgh, we've awarded $4.2 million to transform a historic warehouse into 60,000 square feet of vibrant residential and commercial space, including 53 new apartments, a commercial gym, and artist studios to attract and sustain Newburgh's surging population of young professionals. And the village of Curios is receiving $10 million to construct a critical water treatment facility, unlocking housing development that's long been on hold due to infrastructure constraints. And in Rockland County, Northeast Ramapo is also receiving $10 million for water, sewer, and transit upgrades, enabling the development of over 700,000 square feet of commercial and office space and nearly 1,200 new homes. And in Sullivan County, we're awarding $2.5 million to build 76 new affordable homes in Monticello. And last but not least, in Kingston, we've awarded $2.5 million to transform an abandoned Quality Inn into 83 units of affordable housing for residents at risk of homelessness. Each of these projects represents a smart, sustainable approach to building community, one that builds leading with people first. By concentrating growth around transit hubs like Ludlow Station here in Yonkers or the New Rochelle Metro North Station, we're transforming people's quality of life. Residents can step out their front door and be just minutes away from a train that can whisk them to jobs in New York City or elsewhere. It cuts carbon emissions, it reduces traffic, and it gives people something priceless: more time back in their day to get an extra hour of sleep, to play or work with their kids, or enjoy a home-cooked meal with their family. So the Mid-Hudson Momentum Fund isn't just about housing. It's about creating a livable, walkable, vibrant community. It's about attracting young professionals and retaining our talented workforce and allowing our families to thrive. It's about capitalizing on this region's incredible growth, charting a sustainable path forward, and giving longtime residents and newcomers alike the chance to make a life here. So, along with the governor, we're incredibly excited to see the transformation that will happen here thanks to these landmark investments. And we can't wait to come back and see all the progress on these projects in the months to come. So thank you. And I'd like to have the opportunity to invite the Majority Leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, to the podium. Thank you.
So good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is really just such a wonderful day. It started out a little gray, but Governor, your presence, your investment has made it brighter for each and every one of us. Thank you so much. And I do want to thank my colleagues in the Senate and in the Assembly. You've heard them. I see I've got county legislators here, including the board chair, Vedad. I see the local county legislator, Shanae Williams. Oh my goodness, I'm in trouble. I see Ben Boykin, and I see Judah. Anybody else I'm supposed to say? John Rubo? Okay. Please, stand up. Let people know. You know why I want you to know my elected officials? Because, thank you. Lakeisha Collins-Bellamy, the City Council President, the Majority Leader. Okay. Judah Holstein. Okay. Why did I do this? Because the governor is here. She's invested in our community. She's invested in the entire state. And she's doing it because she has partners. I've been in Westchester County a long time. I've been in county government and city government a long time. Housing and finding ways to build housing has been probably the Achilles heel, quite honestly, in terms of what happens in this county and beyond this county. I've been on committees in the county that were about housing, but you couldn't say the word housing. It'd be community development. Lois Bronze, the late Lois Bronze, used to say, community development and housing. Because the leadership at that time did not want to hear it. And when the governor came to us in the legislature 3 years ago with the, I'm tired of this, you heard her, she's not happy. People going other places. We got to make them do it, and let's, do it like this and overrun this. And she'll tell you that's, she gets in those moods. But we played this game a long time here. It's not rational all the time. Certainly doesn't help us do the things that we all want, have economic development, have jobs, hang out with our kids, grandkids, other than having them live in our basements. You want them to be able to afford to live close. You want to be able to age in place and not have to leave. We wanted all those things, but we already have had those fights, and you spend years resisting people and lawsuits and blah, blah, blah. And so we in the legislature, wasn't that we didn't like her plan or we didn't want housing, but we asked her to work collaboratively with us to develop carrots and sticks eventually, but carrots first. We're looking at carrots, and we're looking at carrots that are transformative, not only to this community, but every community. But the real carrot, and what she's trying to explain, and what we all know, is being able to have housing. Those are the real carrots. Because once you can house your community, no matter what their economic level is, then there's less room and less need for sticks. And in this time in particular, it's important because the governor talked about living in a trailer park, and many of you might know, I lived in public housing. I grew up in public housing. My father, who returned from the war, not being eligible for the GI Bill as a black man despite his service, the federal government built public housing for people like my dad, and the Jewish community as well. They weren't part of that either. However, it was the federal government's investment in making sure there was a roof over your head. And the commitment to the federal government was that because of my dad's service, no matter where, he would be able to have public housing. That federal commitment, unfortunately, does not exist right now. The federal investment in making sure people have housing does not exist. It's left to us. It's left to each and every one of us to use what we have in our arsenal to create the ongoing and lasting and permanent and meaningful commitment to housing all of our people. So I am really happy, Governor, to stand with you, my legislative colleagues, and continue to build momentum, build housing, certainly affordable housing, to make sure that New York really represents what we know community is made of. And I want to thank Hope for heading up BSD as well, because again, we need partners on every level of government, and we need partners within our agencies to make sure that these developments happen and they reflect our highest values. Talking about somebody who reflects our highest values, I get an opportunity to introduce a friend, a former colleague, another one of those great partners in government who knows me from the county board where all those things are true, who did his fair share of trying to, again, build, create, remove barriers, and uplift the image of Westchester for everyone all the time. And he wasn't done yet serving. He decided to take his goodwill, his expertise, and his competency to Washington, D.C. Fortunately, even though you don't have great friends necessarily there, you have right here your friends who support you. You have our great mayor, and you've got certainly your legislative friends and community and a governor. So we have your back. Let's give it up for Congressman George Latimer.
Thank you, Andrea, State Senate Majority Leader, and also Governor Hochul. Let me extend greetings to a person who has done a great job at the county level of government. He isn't with us here to speak today, but he is your county executive, partner of mine for my 7 years, the great Ken Jenkins, also resident of Yonkers. And members of Ken's executive team are here, and along with the Board of Legislators that have been recognized, I'd like Joan McDonnell, Emily Saltzman, Blanca Lopez, I see Len Grunfeld, those people that are on Ken's team as the county to be that partner with the state, to put money behind these projects from the county level. Please, Joan, Emily, your team, please stand up for recognition. James Taylor had a song called Fire and Rain that I remember when I was a freshman in college. That tells you how old I am. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days I thought would never end. I'd seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. That would be now in Washington. I come home to Westchester every weekend, and I'm encouraged when I sit here and I see the governor of my state, the leader of one of the legislative bodies of that state, and members of both houses, the leadership of this county and the leadership of this city, leading in a way that those that I see in Washington have abdicated. They have lost their way thinking about ideology rather than practicality. Look at this list of second-round contributions of this state under this governor and the resources that will remake Portchester, New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, I sound like a Metro-North conductor here, Yonkers, and then from the prior cycle, Peekskill, Ossining, they're not part of my CD, but they're part of my heart, and the work that's been done. This is what government should be doing. This is what leadership is. Leadership isn't a slogan or on a hat that you wear when you shouldn't be wearing it. Leadership is putting money behind principles. That's what Governor Hochul has done today. And she has the support of a state legislature led by Andrea Stewart-Cousins, Carl Hastie, and the people that are here that put muscle behind that in the legislative body. And it's complemented by a county government that has made a similar commitment for housing. I was part of that, and now Ken Jenkins is advancing that. And in a second, when the mayor of this city stands up, the city stand behind it. And it's not just housing, it's all the things that go around that. The wraparound services within social services, community mental health, that are helpful as well with the things that are needed for this type of development. Mike Spano is working on a county park that will sit opposite the Ludlow project that's being announced here. That park has some county money in behind it, and it's a vision of opening up waterfront property that's been used for buses to sit on a piece of land. And the vision of the city, with the help of the county, in concert with the state, is creating a better southwest end corner of Yonkers. This is what government is, and this is why we go into government. When I go to events over the course of a weekend and I see Andrea and I see Mary Jane and I see my friends at different levels and Vidad and Ben Boykin, who we honored yesterday, we don't do it for that. We don't do it to get recognition and applause. You don't do it to get your name on a building. You don't do it so you can have a stable coin in your name and have people give money to the stable coin. Is that what government is? No. What government is what's on this list. These allocation of funds from this governor's vision, backed by this state legislator's vision, backed by a supportive county, and I would argue this county is as supportive or more so than any other county in the state for these things. Backed by local government. I go back to Washington and I tell them about how good it is here, not how good it is they think they're making it right now. I want to bring up the mayor of this city. He's been mayor for 14 years. There was a time when he and I sat together as county legislators, and there was a time when he and I sat together in the state assembly. We talked a lot about what we might do in the future. I've had some opportunities, but he's had an opportunity to take the third largest city in the state, the most complicated local government in this region of the state outside of New York City, and run it on all different levels well. Basic services, police, fire, sanitation. This is a hard city to run day to day. And to do those things well, and then still to advance affordable housing, advance economic development, and to do it day after day with the same level of enthusiasm that you did it the day before, that too is leadership. So we're lucky to have the leadership of this governor, this state legislature, this county legislature, and the mayor of the city of Yonkers, the Honorable, my friend, Mike Spano.
Thanks, George, and it's great. I get to follow the governor, Senator Stewart-Cousins, and of course, our congressman. And it's so good to see all of you here in our wonderful city of Yonkers. And, you know, Governor, I'll say straight up, you know, as a mayor, we're a little afraid about what's happening out there. There's a lot of static out there. It's a lot of uncertainty. But there's one thing that's not uncertain. It's your steadfast leadership here in New York State, providing stability for local governments, for us to be able to do the things that we need to do. And that's what we can look for. We need leadership that's going to show stability, because the mayors are basically your generals, right? In the wars that are all happening all across our country. We're the ones that are educating your kids. We're the ones that are providing for a safer neighborhood, police, fire, sanitation, quality of life, our parks, and all that stuff. When Washington's got issues and it trickles down to New York and potentially onto the county, onto the cities, I don't really have anybody to look down to. I either have to make very, very difficult decisions in terms of cuts, or we have to raise taxes. And that's really what it boils down to. But I didn't have to do that this year. Why? Because of our governor. Why? Because we have in leadership our great state senator and majority leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins. And thank you for putting forth that change to the school aid formula with Shelley Mayer. That really helped us out. Let's give it up for our state delegation. And Governor for signing that as well. To our county, of course, to George for your steadfast leadership at the federal level. We need people who are sensible and who understand. Like I said, it's really about what we all agree with. And what do we agree with? We want to educate our kids. We want them to grow up in a safe community. We want them to be able to get a good paying job. And you know what? And we want them to be able to afford to live here. Because when people talk about affordable housing, we're not necessarily talking about people moving in. We're talking about our kids not having to move out. And that's something we should never forget. Yonkers has been a leader because in building housing. Over 12,000 units of housing have been built in this city in the past decade. And why? Well, not just because of us. We've had good working relationships with the developers. We've had solid investments from New York State that has given us that ability to build 12,000 units. Now, remember, we have a 10% affordable housing ordinance in this city. But working with our team, with the city council that are here today, we were able to take that number, and that number is 22%. So out of the 12,000 units, we built 22% affordable, even though our ordinance says we have to do 10. And that happens, again, because we have good, solid leadership that provides us what we need so that we can get the job done. Governor, thank you. I love when you come to Yonkers. It's great to see all of you. And I want to say to each and every one of you, especially to Lynn, and for opening up this facility here at Great Point Studios. Thank you for coming today, and let's keep the progress moving forward. Good to see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. That concludes our program.